This song makes you want to do some crazy things. Makes you want to do some crazy dances. Get crazy with it, right? Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of LanceScurv. This is going to be freestyled again. I have a few notes that I had put down, and I might do a double header tonight, which means this one might be a little shorter, right? It might be a little shorter, but the other one that has pun real live relationship talk type stuff, that's what I want to do. I've been running hard, and yes, I look a little tired tonight. I feel a little fatigued, but when I hit that button and get in front of the mic, my spirit picks up, and we're going to go on a journey. And when I get fatigued and when I get tired, I get goofy. I start laughing and stuff that's like not really all the way funny. I just thought I was like that from a child, laughing and stuff. My father never called me stupid, right? But when we would go to the jobs and finish up that he had, and we'd come home, it was like a ritual. We eat. Sometimes it might be 3 o'clock in the morning. We're not supposed to do that, but we'd eat. And this is on a weekend or the summer vacation. And he'd look at me, and I would start laughing at stuff. And he's looking, and I'm cracking up. And he would say, "Lancey, you're getting stupid now." But he said it with a Jamaican accent. "Lancey, you're getting stupid." A certain kind of masculine way of saying it, because it kind of blended out as long as he was in America. But, those real vibrations, NFN Shock on Landon Price. Welcome on in. Those real vibrations between people, no matter who you are, father, son, mother, daughter, friends, strangers at the bus stop, ships passing in the night, the real vibrations we're missing. And I find that this is what many of us are starved for. We're missing the real vibrations. And like the title says, living real in a fake world. And we're scrolling, but that's like artificial, that's like fake nutrition. And we're not being fed we're being fed something, but we're not being nourished. We're not being nourished. Let me slide over here a little bit. This desk of mine is totally junky. You don't want to see it. You don't want to see it. This camera falls, you'll see. It's like, man, Scurv, what you doing over there? But that's where I do my best work. But yeah, we're so hungry and we're not being fed. And so I want to kind of go down my notes and speak about that. And then I'll freestyle it after that. And then I want to come back with something else tonight. I really do. If this goes on longer, it'll just be one. But if I can bounce off of this, I don't want to rush it, but it's the one I should have did last night. That's how my mind works. So it's like I got to force myself. And then every night we'll have something. When I say night, for me right now, it's just after 11. So it's 7 on the East Coast, and nighttime. He's talking like it's 3 o'clock in the morning, but soon it will be once I start talking and, get into that zone. But I had a really wonderful day today. I got a lot of stuff accomplished, but I'm feeling it physically, and I have a lot in the next few weeks, but I'm going to keep up with these shows. We're not going to stop with that. So let me just read off a couple of jotted notes and add things in. I want to talk about that because we know it, and those of us who are aware of it, that we're living in a fake world. And when you live real in a fake world, you're looked at like you're fake because everybody is sold out on the fakeness. And we now, most of us, our minds have been hijacked that we don't want to be authentic anymore. We want the fake because fake is real in 2025. And the time is moving on so fast. I was just speaking to a very dear sister of mine, and I had some music playing in the background. We were voicemailing each other. I was voicemailing with a few people. And in the background, I had the song playing on the playlist, The System, from back in the 80s. I think it was 86, 87. Don't This Groove. And She was like, oh, I love that song. I'm like, I love it too. But it took me back to a time. And it's not about going back in the chronological time. It's about going back to a place in a state of mind. You're right, Shaka. Everything in this reality is fake. The only thing real is your soul. Exactly. Samara 505, welcome on in. Yeah, that's when you had the real food, the real nutrition, the real vibration. It's so true. And I'm hungry. And so sometimes we have to cook up our own meals for the soul. And we strain through what we see out here, but it's moving too fast, y'all. I'm not saying, well, I'm old, things are going too fast. It's going too fast. All this stuff bombarding your brain, distracting you, the fake stuff. It's like, whoa, I'm going to pump the brakes and I'm going to slow down in life because I'm not going to chase after the fake. I just don't. I can't. And because people are so clogged up with the fake, they can't get the real nutrition that they need to grow and to feel true joy. People living in the fake world, they go for the fake stuff. They don't have those deep belly laughs. They don't. You can't do it with a fake person. You know, you can't, when you're laughing so hard and they keep going with the joke or the story, and they stop, please stop. But you don't really want them to stop. You're having a good time. And you're sitting there in a post-orgasmic state after the laugh. You're like, oh, man. Oh, that was so good. Oh, that's good. Don't start up again. And you never forget that laugh that you shared with that person. You never. Truth Seeker, welcome on in. Yeah, the fake is the new real. It's sad. Better make a t-shirt with that on there. Don't bother me, I'm real. Fake is the new real. That's what it's all about. We live in a time where reality feels twisted. The images, the videos, and the messages we see daily are filtered, edited, and designed to control how we think. That's the part that gets me. When they came out with social media, oh man, they knew exactly what they were doing. They were to slowly take about 25 years or so and hijack the minds of the masses. And they've done an excellent job, but excellent in a wicked way, not excellent in a good way. Many of us remember a time when life felt freer, simpler, and more natural. See, back then, privacy was respected. Families spoke to each other face to face. Children played outside without fear of constant digital surveillance. Everybody is looking over their shoulder. But today, that freedom has been stolen by screens and algorithms. And that's something. We got children in school who don't focus on their studies, but they're focusing on going viral and making sure that their next video is snatched down, swallowed down for the perfect algorithm. I'm gonna go viral. They don't even know what the word really means. They just because they hear people saying, I'm gonna go viral. A little 9-year-old the other day, I'm gonna go viral. What does that mean? Everybody gonna see my video, and then what? You got your dopamine hit at the crack house, the digital crack house, and that's it. See? Look at that. Samara says, I've always differentiated between life and reality. Yes. You have to know where the line is drawn and enjoy the real. But we don't have enough people to participate in that. That's like going to the park and wanting to sit on a seesaw and you're the only one on one side. You can't sit on the seesaw. You need two people to be on the seesaw to jump up and down. Technology can be a blessing, but it can also be a trap, as we can see. Those of us who can see. It promises convenience, but slowly erodes human connection. It claims to bring knowledge, but often delivers lies and distractions. For the Black community especially, where unity and trust are already under attack, these digital forces become dangerous weapons, more so. But when the space of togetherness is fractured by endless scrolling and false realities, and then throw in the AI where you can't even tell if it's real or not. Ain't that something? What is it? That new thing they get the VO3, VEO3, and then VEO4. You don't even have to look what it's doing in Hollywood. I mean, you just speak a prompt into it, and it makes a movie with sound and detail so authentic, you can't tell. This is 2025. They didn't have anything like this 5 years ago. AI, as it is now, wasn't really around. Somebody was cooking it up. So if they can get this stuff this fast out there, what can happen in 2 years and 3 years? And we're being titillated. We can create our own stuff now. We don't even need bloggers anymore. I mean, vloggers, podcasters. They're making fake podcasters. You can't whip that. Can't whip it. It's only if you're real in your vibration. And most folks come along and they're not going to really want to get into that. They have digital porn now that's made by AI. I'm all messed up. I'm calling it EI. EIEIO. Diane, welcome on in. Thank you so much, Queen Sister Diane. Right? But that's the thing. We have to ask ourselves what happened. How do we go from building communities block by block, remember block parties, to living in a world where clicks, likes, and shares are treated as real relationships? Clicks, likes, and shares are treated as real relationships. Sad. You go on Facebook and people share their lives, but then it's strained, filtered. There's folks in my old job when I used to drive the bus, and the old job when I was in corrections, and we keep in contact to a point. But most are just observing each other's lives and showing up with a like. Some make comments, but when are we going to get together? You know, okay, I know I'm way out in West Africa, and a lot of folks are not going to come out this way. But that's beside the point. When do you make time to get together to see your people face to face? Right? How do we trade genuine friendships for empty notifications? How do we do that? Somewhere along the way, the fruit of technology, sweet on the outside, has left us poisoned on the inside. Now, this is not to say that you're going to reject all technology, but you got to reclaim what's real. It's about remembering that people matter more than screens. Don't you feel rotten sometime? I'm not saying anybody here personally. I'm just saying, don't you have a rotten feeling sometime when there's somebody that you were supposed to call? It wasn't set up on a schedule. Every 3 days you're supposed to call me. But we become so distant. And look, this happened before social media and AI. 20, 30 years ago, sometimes we get busy and we forget to call a person that we have in our circle. So, oh man, it's been 2 weeks. After a while, oh man, it's been a month. You get older. Sometimes you have more time. 3 months went by. I'm trying to pump the brakes and keep the connections and vibrations going that are real. Because the next step is you heard, oh, this person died. And you're like, oh man, you feel so bad. Welcome in, Shay Sanders. Glad you're here. But it's like liftoff. We're moving too fast. And this thing has hijacked our brains so much that watch. And I don't wish that people transition. We all are going to transition. But you're going to remember what I said We're going to hear this somebody transition in a closer circle, and you're going to feel rotten. Like, oh, I should have been talking to them. I should have, you know what I mean? But it's worse now because we've been distanced greatly from the people we should be in contact with because we're so caught up in the fake world. Welcome in, Reese. Welcome in. It hurts. You know, we got to hold on to what makes us strong. Truth, which is compromised with the fake presentations. Family, which we feel we can stay in contact with through text messaging and voicemails. And that's wrong. And just plain old togetherness. And I've said this before on other shows. What happened to us just coming over just to come over? You get that phone call on a Sunday or early Saturday or a day that many people have off. It might be what they acknowledge and say it's a holiday, but we shouldn't have to wait on that. We shouldn't have to wait on that. You have a day free? You know that phone call. Hello? Hey, girl, what you doing today? I'm going to do a little cleaning, but I'm almost done in an hour. Well, I'm glad you are. You know what? I know you might be tired from working all week, but we got to get together. Why don't we go down to the flea market and go down to the mall? I'll treat you to lunch. And that sounds good to me. I'll bring the kids. I'll drive because I got the minivan, and you get your kids together and we gonna hang out. It's on me. You see what I mean? That human contact. And you're laughing and you're talking and you're seeing other people. Hey, that's Shirley over there. Yeah, come on. How you doing? I ain't see you in a long time. What happened to that? Little kids looking up. I think mommy said we gonna go get pizza. You see what I mean? It's you know. Thank you, Shay. Thank you so much, Shay. I'm still here. I'm still here. I ain't going nowhere till the good Lord calls me home. See, I'm hiding behind the banner. I'm still here. I'll show my face big in a little while, right? I'm sitting here sipping on my almond milk. Yes, I am. That's why I'm keeping my face off the screen to keep it discreet. This is a live show. But, you know, once privacy was natural, families could live without cameras and microphones tracking every move. Now, in the present day, every device is a spy. Every search, every post, every picture becomes a piece of data. For the Black community especially, which has long been monitored and targeted, we're used to that. This loss of privacy is more dangerous than most realize. When privacy is gone, control is easier. Freedom becomes an illusion. Algorithms decide what we see and what we believe. They feed us what keeps us hooked, not what sets us free. Instead of building critical thought, they create dependence. Instead of showing truth, they show comfort. But comfort in lies leads to destruction. And it's a poison. It's a poison of artificial reality. We become complacent. I mean, it was bad enough when we started texting each other and texting each other in the same house to talk to a family member in the next room. It's a damn shame. You have people who are in relationships, and in their acts of intimacies. Read between the lines. Somebody might be holding the phone and looking at what's on somebody's page or checking a text message. It's crazy. We've lost our minds, or we're losing our minds. We're losing a grip on reality into an alternative world. Artificial intelligence is now shaping our world at lightning speed. It can mimic voices now, faces, and words so well that truth becomes blurred. Soon, it may be impossible to know what is real. I'm telling you, give it 2 years. This is more than entertainment. It's control. If people cannot tell truth from lies, then lies become the new truth. And it's engineered, and we know it. But it looks too real. I mean, if I wanted to grab Muhammad Ali's voice and say, I want y'all to watch a Lancescurv show. It's the greatest show of all times. It's the best podcast. The brother's real, been around. You know what I mean? It would sound just like them. You can lift people's voices. Like I said, you have podcasters out here who will do a podcast with their own voice. They just have to feed a few moments of their voice into the audio program of this AI. In every inflection of your voice is replicated. And now you can have a face podcast, and you can also use your face, feed your face into it. But a lot of people are getting a lot of work done. Man, how come this guy got this podcast going on 10 times a day? Not everybody. But you can do that. All you have to do is feed it what you wanted to say, and it will say it in your voice. That's why I had to show my face so you can see that that's not happening here with me. See, but for the Black community especially, where truth has already been stolen, rewritten, and twisted for centuries, this is a crisis. Long before this technology came around, our history was hidden. Our legacy stolen. And what's good about the technology today is that we can find out things that we never were told in high school, middle school, junior, middle school, elementary school. In America, how many areas that have lakes, especially in the South? I'm not saying every lake, but those lakes were thriving communities. Their own businesses and making money. And the you-know-whos didn't like it and took time and killed off the people, ran them out, used laws, force, intimidation, and put a lake there. And now you have tourists coming around and sailing their boats on the lake and not knowing what the history was of that place. We're all over America, historic. I mean, we're all over the world. We're the first in everything because we're the first on the planet. And everything started in the motherland. And the whole planet is Africa, or our Kebulon. But they hid so much from us, and it's going to continue. Because you see, we can be very emotional, and they can use the fake imagery to poke and prod our emotions where we really don't see reality as we should, and we suck this thing in easier. We cannot let another layer of deception bury us deeper. We cannot accept a reality built by machines that serve those who profit from our confusion. I'm going to say that again. We cannot accept a reality built by machines and programs that serve those who profit from our confusion. Keep us confused. We can't build anything. Keep us confused. We can't keep the family together because we're confused in our desires. And, well, yeah, I've been with her for so many years, but this one over here looks a lot better. How much time do you have? How much time do you have? All the foolishness that we're indulging in because our imaginations are poked and prodded. And we don't know. We fall into line on what we should do. Yes, we go to the job. Yes, we go and we do what we have to do. But what's in our mind? There's a menu offered to us by the things that we see in the fake world. And the technology is helping us to be led down that road. See? Clicks are not people. Likes are not love. Followers are not family. Too many have replaced real connection with digital approval. This weakens us. A neighbor once known by name is now ignored for strangers online. Children who once played outside now sit trapped in front of glowing screens. Families who once ate meals together now stare at devices instead of each other. Ain't that a damn? You got your precious grandmother, grandfather, mother or father, sisters and brothers or cousins sitting around the same table, but you're not talking to each other. And we don't know how this world works. That mother who you're not talking to because you're distracted by the screen, it shouldn't even be allowed at the table. You should be able to bond and look in each other's eyes and talk and relate and feel each other. You don't know that one who sits across from you at that same table next week might not be alive. You see? When you have your people around you, unless it's an emergency or you're expecting a call, I'm not saying throw the phone away. It helps to accelerate the good parts of our life, but it also helps to accelerate the dumbed down, numbed out, confused person that can't get it together. Because this thing also, overindulgence, will suck out your consciousness and your awareness. You'll be walking around the house. Just put your keys down on the table. 5 minutes later, you're walking around and you can't find your keys. A person will ask you a question. I'm not throwing off on anybody here personally. They'll ask you a question and you know the answer, but you can't put the connection. You're thinking like names you forget. It's the earlier stage of Alzheimer's or dementia. You see what I mean? And this emptiness, it drains the soul. When the Black community forgets to connect face to face, we lose the very bond that kept us alive through oppression. We trade our strength for digital crumbs. We must see the trap for what it is. Chains that shine like gold, but hold us just the same. Pretty chains. Pretty brand new iPhone, right? The new action cameras. I like the gadgetry, but it doesn't take me over. Those are tools from which I create from. I have a method of putting myself together, and the tools help to leverage me. But once I'm done, I'm not touching it. I go off into the world and think my thoughts and jot down my notes and come with original content. Human nature, how we relate, different things we need to discuss. I don't know everything, but I'm pretty good at coming up with topics. I bounce off the chat room. I bounce off of our brothers and sisters and the conversations and the voicemails and text messages that you send me. Say, hey, that's a good one. Let's talk about that tonight. I'm not doing this by myself. I'm not that brilliant. You see what I mean? Real happiness does not come from screens. It comes from human touch, shared experiences, and acts of kindness. Just to sit down with someone like you would do back in the day. And I always talk about this. Young kids in the same neighborhood, you might sit on a neighbor's front steps with 4 or 5 other kids, waiting for the ice cream man to come around. You don't have much to say on this hot summer day. Maybe you're going to go play baseball, football, skip the rope. If young ladies, whatever, hopscotch. I'll be corny and say that there's different things, but it was all about our relation to each other. The little jokes that we had from young that I still remember. There's those moments that they're so etched deep down in my subconscious mind from the human contact of my friends and family resurface every day. Or if not the same one, different ones every day. And I'll pick up the phone and I'll throw a voicemail. Or I'll make a full phone call. But if they're busy or if it's late at night, I'll say, okay, it's 3 o'clock in the morning over there. Let me just leave a voicemail. The human touch through the technology, but nothing beats a face-to-face. You see? Comes from building trust, love, and strength in our families and neighborhoods. This is survival. Without these real bonds, we remain divided and vulnerable. See, with them, we rise together. The question is simple. Will we continue to let machines dictate our lives? Or will we take back our power? Will we continue to live in a fake world of illusions? Or will we choose reality? Every moment we spend with people, every act of love we give, every truth we protect is a step toward freedom. See, we feel free because, I'm not going to say the former definition, but the outdated definition. Just because we can walk around and walk here and there and we're still not free. You got to watch out for them cops. You got to watch out. You know what I mean? But we're walking into a different trap. You see? Freedom over illusion. We cannot live in chains of convenience. Real people over digital ghosts. Truth over lies. Kofi, welcome on in. Yes, UK in the house. Yes. And Shay Sanders has a longer, I like to read the longer ones. Phones aren't bad. We just have to be aware of the tech that might be included in the phone. AI has the ability to save this planet. Teamwork makes the dream work. Yes, but we have to be careful of those who are programming the AI. See? Like the answers it spits back that'll mold our mindset on how we see the world. So it's a balance. And I understand what you're saying, and I'm not trying to knock you. It's a tool. It's how we use it. You see? But we have to protect our families and rebuild the trust that screens have stolen. Privacy, freedom, and human connection are worth more than any new device or app. Many communities are at a crossroads. If we depend on technology to tell us who we are, we'll be lost for sure. If we stand on truth and rebuild our connections, we'll be strong. This is the time to walk away from empty distractions and into the arms of real life, to see each other, know each other, love each other, not as clicks, not as data, but as human beings. See, AI is not encouraging us to take that walk around the park with our loved ones or even by ourselves. You see? Today, we only have what's real. Nothing more. And to me, this is going to hamper those years in our life where we need to be so full of, because I look at it as a battery. And I'm going to explain how I look at it that way. Let me go rearrange the screen a little bit and remove this, remove that, boom. Here we go, boom. I'm live. This is not AI. I'm a real live, living, breathing person. If they make clones and they're not too perfect, if you see a Lancescurv lookalike and I put up my hand, this pinky, I'm looking through the screen, right? This pinky is broken. Never fixed it back. So that other one, snuff it. It's not real. But for me, I look at it like, see, we are energy. And we're in our bodies. It's very complex. But the Creator made it in a way where it's very simple at the same time. And when you look at the sun, and you look at how Earth and life on Earth, how we derive our power from the sun, that's the ultimate charging port. Not just on a physical level, but a spiritual and mental level too. When you've been inside the house a lot, or inside a job at a cubicle with artificial light, you go out at lunchtime, and you feel different in nature. Something washes over you, something replenishes. The artificial mechanisms of the world, or computers, and something we can use, to me, it drains us. It takes something out of us. And it doesn't bring us that life. You get in the sun more, get in nature more, vibrate with each other, those who you can trust and open up to, because we have a lot of people who are sick. Not just because of the technology, they're sick. They need healing. And they know they need healing, but they just keep doing the same old things. Sometimes you can help them, lead by example. Hey, come on, let's take a walk to the park. Let's go down to you might go to the mall. Not because you really want money and get caught up in the artificial fake stuff there. You might need something. Take a walk. Taking a walk takes a little more time. But it's that time that helps to saturate you with the human vibration that we need. Because people out here, like I said earlier, they're sucking on the wrong nipple. They're in the phone. They're being entertained. Their mind is working, but they're not absorbing the real vibration, the real energy. And when you absorb this stuff, you can't really create. What happened to seeing the arts and crafts stores around? They're not around anymore. They're not around anymore. The kids don't pay that any mind. Mr. Scurv he got into doing crochet. He takes classes every week. I'm like, oh, you want to be that old granny on the porch with the rocking chair doing the crochet? No, but the funny part about it is most of the people that go to that class, because we just got into the world of the 60s. That's no lie, but 70s and 80s, and very bright, friendly, warm, humane. They're doing a shared activity. We need more shared activities. The computer and the phone, you can talk to people, but it doesn't really pull you together. And also, we need those idle moments. That's real. We need those moments, or what I always say, which does make sense to some people, the luxury of being bored. We need the luxury of being bored, because that's how we get our tune-ups and our downloads. You see what I mean? Welcome on in the Malt Network. I had the chat room covered with something else. But just let stuff flow out of you. You see what I mean? Just go somewhere and say, you know what? And tell yourself, I'm not leaving from this area of nature for the next 90 minutes. Plan it. Now, it may be a bad thunderstorm after 20 minutes, you have to run up out of there. I understand. But tell yourself, have an appointment with nature by yourself. And do this on a regular basis as much as you can. Sometimes our schedules and things we do with the children and obligations, but try to start to work that in. I remember when I first moved down to Florida, and this was officially February 2001. But I didn't sell my house until in New York, because I had to make some changes and go back and forth. That was very frustrating, because they're strict. You better change this or it's a violation. I did some things, some little customizations that weren't official. It wasn't until April 5th, but officially I went down in February. And I'm going to tell you, I'm one who loves to have experiences. Sometimes those experiences may be a little offbeat, maybe a little adventurous, maybe a little daring. But when I first got down, and it was February 2001 in Florida when I first learned how to push the computer on. And so I'm searching for places in Florida to go. With all the coastline, I'm looking at the beaches. And I'm saying this story for a reason. I found this beach called Playa Linda Beach. Somebody's going to know what that means that is watching this years now. Playa Linda? You've been to Playa Linda? Yes, I have. Not Player Linda, but Playa. And it has nothing to do with some people being, oh, you're a player, so you're going to the beach. No, it's Play. No, Playa, Linda, like the name Linda, Playa Linda, one word. And I found that it was a nude beach. I wanted to see. I kept putting it off. I was telling some coworkers about it. Like, go, man, go and tell us what it's all about. I didn't go there to see naked people. I knew that would be something to laugh at. But the thought of people going somewhere and take me years ago doing bodybuilding and other adult style things, I am with nudity and taking my clothes off. But my thought going to a nude beach, and I wasn't going to be up around everybody. Because some old people go to them beaches and they don't care, playing volleyball and jumping around. And it was very difficult to go to. I know it was over by was it NASA? What do you call it? What's the other name they call it? And you have to go, and it's this parallel peninsula next to the land that had 13 parking lots that you had to pass to get to the last one. And you were screwed that that parking lot was packed because it wasn't that big. I found out the times when it wasn't busy during the week. And I went there. And you had to walk over this set of steps. And there was a big dune that filled it up under it. So when you come up and you see all of these people, you're like, and nobody's looking at anybody. It's just like they had clothes on. But the experience that I wanted wasn't as some perv or some decadent person. I wanted to be free. I walked down to the end of where there was no end. It kept going, but there were very few people. And I went some more. Sat on a towel. I'm not shy, but this on the beach, and I took everything off. I'm sitting there like, nothing happened bad. So I laid back on the blanket, rolled over my stomach, fell asleep, got up. Not all the way asleep. I'm not that dumb. You know, I had my little pouch, my keys, and something to drink. And it was me and nature on the beach. And the feeling of freedom was so, yes, Malt Network, balls swinging everywhere. Yes, that's official. But nobody, and you saw people, they saw you, they weren't close. Didn't bother me. I got up and got in the water. I didn't go all the way in the water. I went up to my navel, ducked down a little bit, and a ball hit me in the head. And I got this ball, and there was this man and woman, I think they were married. I threw it back at him, and where are you from, guy? And he talking. Now, I stayed navel high in water because I just wasn't going to have a conversation with some strange man naked. We're from San Antonio, Texas. You're from Orlando? I said, no, I'm from New York, but I just moved down here. And we're talking. And I realized that I had gotten out the water, but I didn't feel funny. And it's made me think, and just like you said, Malt Network, we were born naked. It doesn't mean, you know, oh, okay, player means beach spin. I didn't know that. And I say, I know that. But the layers, not just of clothing, but the layers of attitudes and the layers of who we think we are, that has swallowed us up, and we're drowning in this thing. We can't breathe because we're living in a fake world. It's not just a matter of who sees us and has an opinion on us, but what do we think of ourselves? And how we block the world out by these false perceptions of ourselves. See? I was thinking about that earlier today too. That I want to speak about that. That we put on all this armor because a lot of us are not healed. A lot of us are scared. A lot of us are hurt. A lot of us think that we're so different, or everybody else has it going on, and we don't. And we find reasons to feel bad about ourselves, so we put on this external fake armor. We're struggling to hold it up. And multiple armors that we have, how are you going to enjoy a day when you can't breathe? How are you going to relate to somebody when they have their armor on and you have your armor on and you don't even know who's under the armor? See? So symbolically, it was somewhat of a self-baptism to be able to do that. So when I got back to work the next day, I think I had 2 days over, maybe I had 1 day, or maybe it was the next day. And my coworkers, the coworkers that knew I went, I didn't go with a bullhorn to tell everybody. They said, "So how did you like it?" I said, "Man, I feel so different being here. I got my uniform on now, and that's my role here with the inmates, and you have to be stern, but it's such a tremendous sense of relief." So for the next 2 or 3 months, I was going here 2 and 3 times a week. A couple of times I left work and drove all the way out to the east coast of Florida, because Orlando is not dead center, but it's a little closer to the east than it is anything else, but you still have to drive out to Brevard County and go up. Going after work sometime. And had to come back the next day, the next night. I'd peel off my uniform and just lay out. And I got filled with this feeling of being in touch with myself. And we all have defensive masks that we use if we see a certain situation coming. Well, let me grab my mask. Let me show this face. But it helped me to just not have a mask anymore. I'm pretty much have been that way all my life, but it was something so organic. Doesn't mean you have to walk around naked in front of people. Doesn't mean. It's about stripping away the things you hold to protect you or shield you, or for those who want to put out a false persona, because we have a lot of people out here in the world who do that. They don't think they're good enough. And this is what makes it easy when you can create multiple profiles. A lot of youngsters do that, teenagers do that. They'll make the Instagram profile or the Facebook profile that they allow their parents to see. But they have another profile for their close friends where they can talk the dirt that they want to talk, or do the little, as they say, devilment. Diane, right? It is hilarious. Yeah. I couldn't get enough of it. I'm like that at home. Like here's like so much privacy. I can go outside and forget because there's no windows looking back at me. You know what I mean? There's one little spot near the front that if I go over to, I forget. I'm not lying. Put on my Crocs, little t-shirt. Sometimes I take this shirt off and say, "Oh man, I did my yard chores, did all these different things. Put on some clothes." But I feel free. And that righteously attacks you on a subconscious level. Because if you have more freedom in your day to be yourself, to do what you want to do, that's not like all I want to do. I want to be naked all day. We're all naked under our clothes. But to have that base feel where you're recharging. So now you're not around people. You're meditating. You find a spot in your yard where you can just peel off. You in the sun. Put the phone down. Absorb nature. That is like such a high, such an elevation. When you go around other people, it helps you to see past their mask. And you can see them holding it up. And other people who, they want a real person, they want the real human vibration, they can sense it in you. Even animals look at you different. He's one of us. He goes places and takes his clothes off. We ain't got no choice. Because animals don't hide their emotions. A dog will bark at you or come at you in love and get petted, and cats, kittens, And when you remove these coverings, you can relate to other real people even better. It has nothing to do. Now that part has nothing to do with being naked. It could be other ways that you get to that point of stripping away the mask. It's not like, hey, you get naked too, right? Yeah, yeah. Great thing. What's your name? I'm Lance. No, it's not like that. But you come to a certain place and you understand just from the vibration of looking in a person's eyes, you download something and you already know. Some people try to get in there and emit a signal from their eyes and their persona that's fake because they want to get next to you and rip you off of something or your energy. You have some people who will go through things and they gravitate towards you because they see you as a pillar of strength. We don't have as many people like that in the world anymore. You know? Well, Network says, as melanated people who are always comfortable with their bodies, it was only until the Caucasian white male came with all his sexual perversions, making it weird. There you go. There you go. You ever see a little kid running around in the inner city by the fire hydrant when they open the fire hydrant? He's like, get over here and put some clothes on you. And you got to chase them. They're not thinking. They're not thinking anything. But you're right. It was nothing for us. It's out here where I live. If I walk up to the town and pass there and take the van down to the big city, it's still evidence folks will walk around naked. But when I go the other way, there's a little town called Adoso where every day, but mainly on Tuesdays and Fridays, all of this GMO-free fruit. Talk about mangoes and watermelons and everything. And it's not like a polished store or shops. There's folks on the side of the road bringing what they bring from their land, and the stuff is strong. And you get it inexpensive and cheap. The more you go away from the cities, you'll see nudity more. And it's nothing to many of the people. The breast in America, in UK, the Western world, the Western mindset has been sexualized. They laugh, some of the guys that I talked to in life in America. And that means other places that they developed, and they say, is it true that you go to bars and the women are naked and their breasts are out? I said, well, not me. I've been. I used to drive a bunch of strippers around for a good long while, all up and down the East Coast. You know, I used to sit there with them, waiting for them to finish. Got tons of stories for you. But yet and still, you walk down the road and you have certain villages that it's just straight nature. The structures, how they live, real basic. When you go deep, you may have a poly tank, a big water tank, or maybe by a stream. And you see a couple of women, a couple of babies, they're washing up. And you know, they call somebody when we come from America, the UK, a person from somewhere else, even though I'm Black, because of the complexion, because of the way I talk, and I still hold myself a certain way, oh, he's different, right? Just like if you're in a city, in your neighborhood in America, you have some Greek guy. He's walking around looking like long sideburns. You know what I mean? The way he's dressed with all these shirts, colors on the shirt. He's from somewhere else. And I've seen many people. There was the other day, there were 3 women bathing. They were bathing. Everything was out. Hello, Brony, I remember you. You were telling jokes on the van. I said, yeah, that's me. And I felt uncomfortable. Like, I don't want you to think I'm looking at you that way. But there's nothing for them. You know? And she said, hold on. I have something for you. What's she talking about? I wasn't thinking like that. She was still soaked. And she went over to the side by the door where she is, and she picked up 3 mangoes and walked it over to me. Everything swinging. I want you to enjoy that. You're a good man. I said, thank you so much, And I said to myself, who believed that? But look how they see it. When the women are breastfeeding, you don't see the men, no, just whip out and they breastfeed. Sometimes they forget to put it back in. You know what I mean? It's no big thing. That expands my mind to see how thick we've become. Of course, I still have the old gear. Oh, okay, no, it's not like that here. You see what I mean? So what else has been twisted in our mind to receive certain things? Let me see what the question here. I know this might seem like a silly question, but do they have any nude beaches in Ghana? You can go, not designated, right? But from what I'm hearing, you may have a resort that has a part of the beach, and there's an area you can do that. But I've been on a regular beach. I've been down by Labadi Beach, and I've seen it where, man, Jack Griffin is here. Jack Griffin in the house. Yes, real live connection. We go back. The older we get, I always say that we go back to the 70s, face to face. That's right. When the book about my life comes out, Jack Griffin has got to write a few chapters to put in there. Thank you for being here, brother. But yes, it's no big thing. Women go topless. I don't think they take their bottoms off per se on the general beach. But when nighttime comes, from what I've seen, anything goes. And I don't mean a free-for-all Sodom and Gomorrah orgy. No, I'm not saying that. But in that part of the beach, I say Labadi Beach. It's B. How do you say? Okay, Labadi, Labadi. Google that. That's a very small section. It's pretty big, but you have restaurants, you have hotels, and so it's a mixture. And right now, for me, it's 12:02. It's Friday. Now it's Friday for me. And they're playing music, restaurants are jumping, people walking around. There's no violence. There's no drugs. I'm quite sure there is. Tourists bring it and whatever, but people are hanging out and laughing and having a good time. It's gotten dirtier since I first moved here. They don't care for it as much. People throwing stuff down. And that's another thing that I don't dig too tough. That a lot of the folks here, they just throw stuff down, Inquiring. Hello, welcome on in. But just the different cultures and mindsets. And when I see things and see documentaries, I'm big into documentaries. I'm big into seeing other lifestyles, other countries, the mindsets of people. And just like I was telling Mr. Scurv the other day, I turned her on to this video. It was this white guy. I subscribed to his channel. I forgot what his name was. And he travels a lot. And he does what I would say comparisons of culture. Not just, oh, yeah, Jack has a lot of stories. You can see a lot of Lancescurv stories. You can tell it one day, Jack. It's okay. I want to do a tell all on me, and I want people to come in and just tell it, embarrassing stuff, whatever. That's part of me removing. Am I blinking? My screen went black. I hope we don't have any kind of blank thing going on. If this blanks out because of the power blinkages, I'll come back on the phone. It may go blank for a while, but just give me a little second. I'll log back into the phone just to make sure. But oh God, what was I saying? Oh yeah, like with the different cultures. And this guy, he compared Monaco, right? Monaco, yeah, where the rich folks are, and it's all of this wealth and all these luxury cars, hotels, all this stuff. And he compared it to the poorest parts, one of the poorest parts in Nigeria. Let's see, we understand there's some very affluent, upscale places in Nigeria. And Nigeria has a lot of people there. what he would say is when he went to Monaco, and mostly white folks there, that wasn't the point. But they lived on average to about maybe 90 years old and more, because of its average, there's some lower, and some that live longer. Now, he wanted to find out why was life in this part of Nigeria, the lifespan only 53 years old, but in Monaco, it's 90, but it's so many miles from each other. Like what is it? So when he went to Monaco, he was talking to people there randomly and asked questions. He went to the hospitals. The hospitals had more, I'm not going to say any in the world, but more in that section was shortened, right? So that was a thing. And the men and women want to live longer, so they stay on top of things, and they have the money to do so because they're trying to get to their favorite restaurant. They're trying to travel to a favorite part of the world. They want to be involved in life, so they're making sure to take it, because anything can happen to anybody, right? But they have the resources, and they had mindset to say, we want to stay here longer because we're all going to transition. But they had the means for it, right? Now, in that area in Nigeria, where maybe you've seen it before, where they have the structures on stilts over the water, wooden structures. You better be careful how you walk on the planks inside these structures. That's your home, and you got to get there by this boat. And the water is so dirty, it's actually black. It's not gray, it's not dirty looking. You can't see through it. So they have to get their drinking water from somewhere else. The mosquitoes that are there, the malaria. Malaria is like such a common thing. But getting the medicine, which is inexpensive to combat malaria, is a problem. And the white guy was cool. He wasn't condescending. He looked like he was hurt. He's a young guy. If I can go through my history, because I subscribe, but I subscribe to a lot of people. If I go through my history, I'll drop this in the comment section, a link, so you can see this. And he was there. Where do you use the bathroom? And right there in that wooden, and the wood was rotten too. Like you can walk and your foot might go through it. It wasn't healthy at all. The sewage, it drops right in the water. Same water when you're on the boat and water splashes up or whatever have you. Not many access to doctors, and you have to wait a long time to see a doctor. In Monaco, there, to see a doctor, you just like that. And in the hospital, it was like a ghost town. A lot of doctors just there, not hanging out per se, but they were like, we take care of a lot of people in the checkups and stuff and different procedures, but there's so many of us as doctors here, and they do come through, but resources, they're in and they're out. But the mindset of the people, so this is what I learned and got out of this, was your mindset has a lot to do with it. Your mindset has a lot to do with it. I'm not saying the people who live there are hedonistic, but they had an upbeat mentality and they respected their bodies. Not that the Nigerians in the poor neighborhood didn't, but they're thinking about survival, which is not a crime. You have to survive. You can't think about taking a trip somewhere and you have no money or no health coverage, no money to even, The other thing they said, which would step on many toes, but it has to be said, was that in Nigeria, and with Black folks across the globe, we do acknowledge our spirituality. And most times it's through religion. I don't have a problem with that. Right? I don't have a problem with that at all. But the doctor said in Nigeria that most of the people who have either perished or gotten really sick, religion was the thing that took them out. Because he said, no, we don't have to go to the doctor. Praying to Jesus. Now, I'm not knocking that. What I'm saying is that there's that line, there's that blurred line where the doctors and the healers, I'm not saying in the artificial, take a jab or take this needle and just take needles and stuff, but you got to work along with what knowledge we have. And just, you can't sit down and just, I'm not going to the doctor. You're supposed to be diligent in maintaining your health, and still there are times that you go, and sometimes there's things you can do, and sometimes there's things you can't do. But just to not go at all. Do you do that when you need a tune-up for your car? I'm not going to the shop. I'm not blaspheming any name, but I'm just saying, Jesus will take care of it. You know, Muhammad will take care of it. Whatever. And that's how a lot of us miss the knowledge, miss the blessing of what we should know. Shouldn't we know about these things? I mean, like I said here in Ghana, I learned, and I say it again, and I think it's appropriate to say it again, because I say things all the time anyway. But we have commercial hospitals here. I'm not even talking about those, but the so-called original healers, practitioners who will really, not some hocus pocus mumbo jumbo throwing something over your shoulder, nothing like that. But if you've lived in your home for a good amount of time, 10 years, 15 years, maybe 5 or 6 years, whatever, and you have your garden and your greenery around you, your home, which many of us will live in the concrete jungle or very little vegetation. But from what I'm learning, it's advantageous to live where we have everything growing. Not everything, you can prune it and make it, and I'm gonna plant this here, there. No, I don't want that plant, whatever, but the healer will come around. You could be in the bed with fever or feeling some pain. Before he comes to you, he'll walk around your property. Or out here where I'm in the mountains, I put up a wall, but it's still stuff growing. He wants to see what's growing. Like, we took a trip deep away from where any cell phone signal can find you, where the women did walk around with their breasts out. Oh, good morning, how are you? I'm like, oh, this is strange. I gotta get used to this. You saw lots of the neem bush, N-E-E-M, neem tree. Mosquitoes don't like neem. Many of you know that, right? The neem oil rubbed on your skin. They make it into town. Gets mosquitoes right. Why would you see in certain areas tree plentiful? Because you have those mosquitoes, and it's not every mosquito. It's a certain type of mosquito. I heard it's a female. It's a certain type of female mosquito, and it's nocturnal. So you don't think every single mosquito bite is going to give you malaria. But I've caught malaria after I had it initially when I came back from Ghana and almost died that time. When I came back to Ghana, there were times when I'm like, okay, I know that feeling. They have over-the-counter malaria pills, strong natural ingredients that knock it out. I think it's like, is it 6 pills? You take 2 a day? you good. Now, if the malaria festers up in you, it's raging. But if you catch it, I don't have any here. I always keep them, and they expire. Maybe after a long time they expire. If you get that feeling, pop it. I have a friend of mine coming to Ghana soon, and I'm gonna have them get some of that just to have, and maybe even just pop it because it's not going to hurt you as a preventative measure. But that's what I meant to say, that nature knows what you need. You're somewhere sick and you've been living there for a while, or have certain disorder, and the wild, as we say it, like just what's out there growing wild, will tell the doctor, will tell the healer what it is that you have. Because those things don't grow evenly around property, right? We got a little more of this growing. And this with this pretty much means that it's a problem with their liver, it's a problem with their kidneys, it's a problem with their lymph nodes, their glands. You go inside and you find out what this person eats and what they consume. You compare that with the plants that are growing plentiful, and you have your answer for a cure, right? There was no Walgreens, Dwayne Reed, these other pharmacies that we get used to going to because, oh, you get sick, take a pill. Go to the pharmacy. The pharmacy is the knockoff, because they're known and unknown ingredients and elements in the plant life that are made as medicine after you get sick or as a preventative measure. See? But we don't think that way. I'm not throwing off anybody here. Hope rice, the only rice I F's with. But because we've been removed and placed into the fake world. See, I forgot that was the topic. I'm going off into something else, but I'm coming back around to it. Fake nutrition, fake preventative, or after we get sick type substances. And we're being moved away from the natural to the point where on all levels, mentally, physically, and spiritually, we're way off. We're not even enjoying life as much as we could. There's no crime in enjoying life. It doesn't mean you have to be hedonistic, carnal. That's not enjoyment. That's imbalance. I lived in balance on those levels for a long time. I know, right? It's like taking the living in a pollution-filled, crowded, noisy city. Like say New York City in certain spots, like say the Bronx, the South Bronx, where it was bad, and there's all the stuff going on, or certain parts of Brooklyn, I mean, every area has their little bad parts. And you take a child who was born and raised in those areas. What's normal for them? Gunshots at night, arguing, cops, ambulances, stress, people rushing, no nature, no life. But they don't know that. You take them somewhere there's nothing but nature around, peaceful people, certain mentality, slow down a little bit. It's like, wow, this is different. I like this. At first, I thought it was boring. Happened to me. My parents set me up, 1974, for 7 weeks up at Camp Treetops, North Country School, right under the borderline of Canada, right? And you had 49 mountains in the Adirondacks that were over a mile high. I hiked 11 of them. If you hike all 49, you'll be a 49er. They'll call yourself a 49er. Algonquin, Goethals, Mount Marcy, There were these twin mountains, whatever. When you get to the top, a mile high, out in the country, you see other mountain peaks and ranges and stuff. And you get to the top, and it's usually rock, smooth rock up top, because the glaciers carved out a lot of those mountains. They have one mountain there where it's smooth and it looks like a bird, the beak and the wings and whatever. The air up there is so thin. When I first, they would have in the camp, and the camp was huge. It wasn't some little, let's not get it twisted. It wasn't some little place, a little yard. And this is a camp, it's a camp, yes. No. They had 450 people, youngsters, who attended this camp. And it wasn't like you hardly saw them until they had council. Council was in the morning time and early in the morning. I believe it was after breakfast, before breakfast. No, we had breakfast and we'd go to council. And they would sit around, and it's all these kids, right? For me, it was like, I was the little black spot on the sun today. Didn't bother me. I had an expanded mindset, They would say, well, we're going to be taking a hike. We have 2 vans. We'll have room to go. It's going to take 2 hours to get to this part of upstate. We're going to go hike this mountain. Or we're going to have arts and crafts over here. And they had buildings there. A big infirmary, and where we had a breakfast, a kitchen. But we slept in lean-tos, tents, wood, framed with canvas. And every 4 tents had one counselor. And it was where if you were further out. And so you're hearing crickets, there might be bears around. Some of those counselors, I believe they had a little pew-pew. But to sleep in the rain, and some counselors stayed up all night. And there's always a brother. There's a brother there, he was up all night, and there was a woman who, he was looking over some other lean-tos, and they kind of caught them, doing their calisthenics at night. I don't want to call his name, but this was a long time ago. I don't know if the brother's still alive. Brother Emery. They didn't fire him, though. He was a good guy. But I was inside, and this is kind of off topic. I'll bring it back on. I'll never forget, there was 3 with me, and their father's CEO of this big company, and things that didn't bother really, like, oh, wow, really? But their thinking was different. And they got me hip because my thinking was different also because I was exposed to a lot, but this took it even further in the things that they spoke about and the investments that their father and mother made. And, these folks were rich. And the only reason why I got in there is because a client of my father got me in. Now, it wasn't some kind of, well, we're going to do the inner city ghetto Negro program to get you in. No, it wasn't that. Because I was talented and all this stuff. And didn't have to pay a dime. It was costly. And how they spoke about, they weren't bragging either. They weren't flexing. But it's like, our summer home in Italy, we'll be going there next summer. I won't be coming to camp so-and-so and so. And these are people who came from all over the world. Bundy Dean. I forgot Dean's last name. He was Irish, a little short guy. We were 11 years old, right? Bundy. I know he was a future rainbow dude, but he was still a smart guy, whatever, a little effeminate. And Brian Bronfman. I believe he's a billionaire now and a philanthropist. I Googled his name. I said, oh, man, that's him. He looks so much older. I guess they would see me and think the same thing. But It exposed me to a different way of thinking, and how broad the world is. And growing up in New York City, you can grow up in New York City and have the roughest life and not pay the culture things any mind, but the culture is there. You know what I mean? Even if your family doesn't have millions or they're rich or whatever, they're working class, you can still be exposed. And this is not just a New York thing. I'm quite sure it's like that in Chicago, Atlanta, Los Angeles, wherever. But my mind was expanded talking to these folks, not because they were just white. I was a novelty to many of them. Not like I was some little pet or something like that, but I'm vibing with them as a little boy, intelligent. And I remember we had to I'll see if I can find that picture, that we had to come up with a sign for a group of lean-tos or actual tents. And the next year when I came back, I had a counselor named Lewis, white guy named Lewis. I forgot what his name was, but I know he was Italian, a little hook nose. And so we agreed that the name of the group would be Lewis's Lions. And I volunteered to paint the sign. Yo, I hooked that one up. I hooked it up. And it was like, how do you draw like that? So then artistic things they were calling me, because it was only 7 weeks, but when you're 11 weeks is a long time, when you're not used to being away from your parents, because I got homesick. We had a letter writing time every week, and it wasn't like there were no phone calls, but they didn't have that. That would have been too much. 450, but it showed me racism also. It showed me some other things. And that's a story I spoke on a whole lot with that particular counselor, but it made me tough and made me see the world in a more expanded way. And you know what? If I was coming up in this day and age, I wouldn't have absorbed that. I'd try to find a way to get to a phone or a computer and just stare blindly, right? The human element, the human touch. I remember, I got to Google their names. I think they're in the movies industry, George Lansbury and Brian Lansbury. And they were spoiled. They were funny. And me and George, he's a bigger kid. We got into a fight and I tore his behind up. And he didn't want anybody to know that I did that. Michael Rockefeller was there. He's deceased. He's a real Rockefeller. Young kid right there the same way. And we were in one of the bathrooms, open bathrooms that you can shower and stuff. I was brushing my teeth and he came in, boom, knocked into me. Shoved him. That's when I know my name was added on the list. We can't have this black man doing this to a Rockefeller. He ended up coming out as gay when he got older, and he's not with us anymore. But just life and absorbing things and breathing with life. Play with people. Those who are in the fake world can't do that. It's artificial. It's robbing us. It's snatching our soul. AI is a soul snatcher. How can you ask something in a prompt and it makes a movie for you so realistic? This do-it-yourself. This is like a mental masturbation. You don't have to go to the movies anymore. Movies don't have to be movies anymore, and it's going to drain that industry. But what are we giving this thing in the fake world? What are we giving it? We're giving it something. This is not something that's just nice. Like I said, this is like the Twilight Zone, the episode To Serve Man. With them big head aliens killing and everybody was scared. And after a while, they started talking. And they said they wanted to serve man because there's this book on how to serve man. We're going to help you find the cure for all the diseases. elevate your way of life with technology. And they ate it up until that white lady ran in the spaceship and looked through the book to serve man and found out it was a cookbook. And she ran out in the crowd to serve man. It's not anything good. It's a cookbook. So they were fattening up the people like people fatten up the turkey before Thanksgiving. Turkey running around, oh man, we got it good. We out here getting this fresh air, getting this good food. The good turkeys, right? Not the ones that are cramped up like the chickens. There's a price to pay. You've given us all of this stuff. Huh? Why? To be nice? I have a way out theory on that. And I heard somebody else mention it also. May be real, may not be real. But I'll put it this way. Let's go way out there. Now you're going to start questioning my sanity. You know, I was with Secretary, so that's all that stuff. I think he's a little touchy. He's a good guy, but I think, you know, got hit in the head too much. But I still feel this way. You know, the government's have been compromised. I feel that the opening up of CERN and so many demonic entities running across the earth that we can't see, that are sold out on the carnal things in this life. They want to experience this stuff, the drugs, the way out sex, the unbridled anger, just everything that's out of control, but they feel good about it. I mean, there were times I would get in fight. I didn't start it, but I ain't gonna lie, it felt good. See, man, I got him. Knock this ass out. I won't call the name of the guy, but he can't stand me to this day. I see him on Facebook a lot, and Facebook sends a friend request from him to me. I know he doesn't want to be my friend. That's a long time ago, man. 1978 at the block party. What was I, 15 years old? But there's been some kind of deal cut with the leaders of this world. Not the ones you elect, but the ones you can't, that you elect, the chosen. And the technology, they give us all of this stuff. How are we going to get advanced? We're making advances as human beings with technology, and all of a sudden it goes up. Where did the surge come from? Who are these people who made this? It's not made by humans, y'all. It's not made by humans. We're going to go way out more now. I'm going to have you really thinking this guy needs to get his head examined. He's up in the mountains too much. He's on the balcony, he's just looking. Maybe he's Renge Kyo. No, I'm not doing that. Things come to me. I'm just going to be honest. I know I got a big imagination, but I got a big head, more gigabytes, terabytes, and a big imagination that can, you know. But we know that we're not going to be here forever. And whatever way of religion or spirit, not religion, but spirituality, that you know that there's good and we know that there's bad. We know that our energy goes somewhere. I'm not going to try to argue with you on that. There is a here and there is a hereafter. It doesn't mean you're going to be in this body. Like when I say if we get reunited with our loved ones after living a life that is deserving of that. If you messing up and just low vibrational, it ain't happening for you. Right? But I feel with all of this decadence and all of the decadence that's pushed through the fake world and the TikTok and all this stuff, we can use it for good. There's good stuff on there when you look at it. There's good stuff on Instagram. There's good stuff on Facebook. YouTube. You can learn. But like a foreign person that comes from a different country into your country or stay in America, what's the first thing they learn when they learn a language? The curse words. You got a cab driver, don't even speak a lick of English. You almost run into him. You didn't mean to. F you, man, F you, nigga. What? And we go for the decadence. And they want us to stay there, right? My Facebook is out of control because every time I open it up, there's somebody up in the corner with they butt out. Like, yo, come on. I'm not mad at butts. Sometimes oh man, let me get out of here. I don't want to get in trouble. But, not to say but to be funny, I'm saying but to say but. Fatten up the turkeys, like we fatten up chickens to be eaten. And we know the way they do with the drugs, and they get big after a month. But this is a different way that we're being prepared. These demons, right? I'm not going to say demonic. These straight demons that we may think are from another world, from somewhere else that is more advanced. You think you're seeing a UFO or some kind of, to me, that's something that's not of this realm. I'm not going to say not of this world, but not of this realm. Realms that are right here with us that we can't see because we're not that advanced or not that high up in our sense of spirituality. I got a couch right there and a couch right there. Right at me. I don't know. I feel I've caught glimpses into certain realities when I was younger. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not saying that's what I'm talking about now. But the goal of this technology is to bedazzle us and fatten us up and keep us distracted, even if it seems like something good. But it's to steer us to keep us on a lower level, fighting against each other, confused as to who we are. Yes, that way sexually also. Angry, feeling hopeless, feeling like a failure, encouraging us to put on a different mask. We're not bound to each other anymore. And we live lives, we're seeking out the kids. Come on, y'all. Porn is a huge industry. Huge. And I'm going to go down that way too now. Not to talk about something sexual, but that's a very powerful thing that has been pushed to be a detriment to us as human beings, because proper sexuality is good, it's healthy, and it's God ordained. I'll say God, the ultimate good, right? And anything good is taken and steered around to being something bad. We got all these fruits out here, but folks strain it out and process it and take away the sugar. And I'm giving you all this sugar that's going to throw your body off balance. See what I mean? So, on the vision, the decadence, the low vibrational activity, that us having access to phones, it's a menu and an invite into that world, right? And with the whole sex thing, that's a big thing that's going to grab everybody, because everybody has hormones, folks got imaginations, and folks got genitals. What do you do with them? I'm just being honest. And it's in our head by what we see. We got diseases out here. We killing ourselves off with the anger and the hate and the self-hate, the guns and stuff. Everything out here that is good in the world is twisted around to become something bad and to hijack us into a different place when we leave out of here. I was listening to Tucker Carlson when he spoke about what he found out about UFOs. And he stopped. He says, I can't even say it. Listen that I would pick up on. I'm not conspiracy theorist that way, where, oh, I'm in the UFOs, but it's always fascinated me. I've seen things that are not of this realm. I've told you that before. I ain't looking for it. But if we get so caught up on the earthly realm in the things that are not proper to elevate us, this is what I feel, we hit that point of transition and our energy moves on. And if we've been living that way, them entities are waiting for us. Like hungry folks at the restaurant. Because I use the word decadence a lot. But decadence is the tastiest thing to these demons. And if you lived up for decadence, try to improve yourself. If you cuss, whatever, you laying up doing this and that, whatever, all those things. And I'm not like I'm some preacher, you better get saved and sanctified, because you can get pulled that way and get led the wrong way within that. We're talking separate away from everybody else, like, yo, I'm moving this way from now on, because how much longer do you have on this earth? And there's things in existence that we can't comprehend. You catch a glimpse or you catch a feel. There are people I see in the street, whether it's here in Ghana or in America, different places I've lived. And they might be smiling, look pleasant. And I'm like, oh man, the person's evil. I'm not trying to say that they're evil to put them down, but I peep the game. And their eyes might lock with yours and they're looking at you like, yeah, you see me for who I am, but everybody else is fooled. I don't like you. You can see me for who I am. That's always been my problem anyway. I can see through certain entities like reading a cheap novel. I'm not saying I have some almighty, all-knowing eye or whatever, but you get glimpses of things. You pick up on things. Some people say, well, this is a gut feeling. Okay, cool. You can call it gifted discernment, gut feeling, your third eye, whatever. I understand it's symbolic. Some people, you say third eye, they're looking at you crazy. What are you into? No. But I do believe that there are things waiting on us if we are fattened and fed with this decadence that's coming to us so easy. And like I said, with the whole porn world, things are sent to me, and I've always said that they're now showing these AI figures, these AI porn actors, that you see them with the vampire teeth, you see the 9-foot demon with horns, with a long and spikes in it, and these someone by the hips behind, ripping her apart. What kind of thing is that? Who's watching this stuff? Who's offering this stuff? Why is it being put in our heads? Is this an alternative reality that could be real if you live a certain way? This is getting dangerous, y'all. I remember back in the 70s, you're young and you want to see things, and we go down to Times Square, 42nd Street. They had the peep shows. We go in there, put a little coin in, whatever. You get to see it live, you get to see a little whatever. But I remember telling a friend of mine, we were in there. They had a porn supermarket with carts. The carts were a little small, but carts you could like dum. We put this in, old white, walk with 50, 60 VHS tapes. This before the DVDs came. And they have categories of your particular liking. And I remember telling my friend, I said, look at these categories. What was that about? About 15, 16 years old. I was in there, we were in there. I was a kind of stocky kid, lifting weights and stuff. I said, watch, that's not going to be good enough for these people who view this material. You check it out in 5 years, the categories of fetishes are going to get so detailed and so smothered out. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. And it's going to grab people more. Because just like crack, that first hit you get, you're chasing that hit. What's to do with that and all things sexual going the wrong way? And trust me, I know about that. I'll just say I was a ringleader in many areas. And I've seen it. When you have control in that area, and you commandeer certain things as far as entertainments or gatherings, whatever, people coming to you like a crackhead. Hey, like, Lance, man, I heard you do this or you do that. You get to hook up with this, man. You got to put me down. They don't come at you like that. But it could be that. It could be anger. It could be hopelessness. It could be whatever. It doesn't have to be just that. I use it as an example. Because your body, your hormones, your mind, that's how they get you. So we're going to have to walk more in a more guarded way to see temptation with certain things long before it comes at us. The very thing that will put you in the valley of decision to go off your path of trying to live a better ascended life. Lots of times, like they say in church, we didn't know that was the devil, but he came to the front door. We let the devil right on in. Symbolically, I'm saying. So you have to be careful. So this fake life with the technology is really the menu to your doom. So be careful. Don't get hooked. Pull down the wrong road. I'm getting text messages now. Let me see what's going on. All right. No, I'm good. I can answer back those later on. But it's so much coming at us mentally. So much to take our consciousness away. So much competing. That it's almost like it's too much to choose from. It's like, can't we have a day like we used to have from when we were growing up, because we're different age groups here, right? Whatever back in the day means for you, okay? Back in the day for me is like the 70s, early 80s, 70s, that the music brought people together, made you laugh. You had little block parties, you had cookouts. Friends would have parties in their basements. It was joyous. Yeah, things happen. Look at them old Jet magazines. Folks were shooting places up and stabbing and jealous boyfriends. People were getting caught. That was there. But not like today, where things are amplified. More so. Yet we're still caught up in this thing, which is molding our perception of the world. And now we go right to it. We didn't have that stuff back then. We didn't. And stuff still happened that was bad. But now, I know we have access to information to hear more stuff, but it's more stuff, y'all. It's more stuff. It's these crazy stories. Little kids, barely tweens, shooting places up. Teachers having babies and having sex with the students. Women. We got the men doing crazy stuff, but the pastors molesting kids. And I'm very disappointed because I recently found out that someone that I know real close, down to the years, they've been doing that kind of stuff. I'm like, whoa. And as I delved into the things that have been happening in the last few months, I'm not saying no names, but they've been just to the point where I'll never turn my back on a friend. But the things that I'm hearing and have confirmed charges, different things. The other side of the story that I didn't hear, I don't want to be bothered with that person ever again in life. I'm a loyal guy, but I can't condone that kind of stuff. I can't, I won't. And you trying to justify it? I didn't know this side of you. That kid thing, you've been doing stuff with children, 12, 13, from back when you was in your 30s. We the same birth year. It messed me up. It's messed me up to the point where I got a lot of things going on here. There's some brothers here who are going to stay for the next couple of weeks to get some more work done. Because here it's not like, well, I'm going to go down the block and where I live, whatever. No, they might live on the other side of daggone Ghana. When they come to do work, you put them up. They get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. They work till 10 or 11. They cook their food. They go do whatever. That's how they do. That's not the real reason I'm so tired. But finding that out, it disappointed. It's like a part of my world collapsed. It was like a wife who finds out that that's what her husband was doing. I'm not saying we had no friendship like some wife or husband. I'm just saying that it's the same feeling like, man. Because I would have gave that brother the last shirt off my back. Anything I've done for him. And this is what you've been doing? Were you looking at my daughters like that? I'll unalive you. I'll unalive you if I catch you doing something with somebody else's. Or bring you close to it. You don't know what's in people's minds these days. Now, there are people I know what they do and don't do. But there's some people that can get around you and you don't know what's hidden so deep. You vouching for them. Trust has to be earned. You have to observe those around you, not what they present to you. See, with me, I have certain laws of things that I don't do. I've been wild in the years coming up. Jack Griffin can tell you when he puts his chapters in the book, but there's certain things I'm not doing. No. I know my little kinks and fetishes and stuff. No, that stuff, no. And I'm loyal. You cross me, I ain't loyal. You really venomously cross me? No, I'm not doing it. Right now, I'm thinking more and more of the time that I have left on this earth, and I'm not trying to go the wrong way. It can happen, but now I'm consciously carrying myself and thinking more so than decades ago. But wherever your weak link is, you have to understand that that's where that thing will come and tap you on the shoulder. Lance, look over there. No, I don't want to. See? You can put all the cocaine in front of me. I'll look at it. Oh, that's some pretty looking powder. Let me take some pictures of it. You can put certain situations, but there's certain things that you got to watch out for, know what it is, and conquer it. Because really and truly, you just don't know. It's like every other week now, people I know are just leaving. The famous people, of course, too. It always comes as a shock, you know? But what happens when that moment comes when you know? I mean, it may be in your sleep or whatever. I'm not trying to be gory. But when you're like, oh man, I'm on my way out of here, you're going to feel. What are you going to think about? What would you redo or do differently? You see? Those things are quite humbling because, like I said, if you don't do right, there's things we don't know about waiting for us to gobble us up because we have a good meal with our decadently seasoned self. See? So we got to run with our righteousness. I'm not talking about the holier than thou religious type thing, but I'm just saying, keeping your focus. It's like when you're in the gym as a fighter. When I used to be in the gym as a bodybuilder, you got to watch what you eat. You're tempted to eat this thing, but you say, no, I got to sacrifice. I got to push today. I don't feel like going. I only have 60% of the energy that I had from yesterday when I was 100%, but I'm still going to give 100% of that energy. Phone rings, but no, I can't. I'll come over later. I don't want to do it, but I got to do this. I didn't do anything yesterday because of so much that was happening. I had to, now, this went on long enough, second show behind this. I'm going to do something earlier. I got some things to take care of tomorrow, but the double one, and that's going to be deep on a relationship level. It might help a few young folks out, right? But you have to make your commitment to whatever it is that you're about and stick to it. Don't let anything take you away from it. There's no impossible dreams. Everything is possible if you stay focused and stay determined and not get distracted. Because these are there are energies out here that are sent to you to distract you. Ain't no coincidence. Every time I start to do a show, I get at least 15, 20 voicemails or text messages. Hey, how you doing? What you doing right now? You know good and damn well you got the alert. Because when I say, oh, I'm just watching a movie, I'll text it. Wait a second, aren't you on a show right now? Then why are you texting me then? I mean, anybody can text me. My number's out there. Why the games? You get a thrill from that? Come on the show. Get in the chat room. They don't do that. That's why I had to knock off the notifications so I don't hear them. I see everything popping up. But see the world, I'm going to sign off right now, but see the world as energy. When you see people coming at you, ask yourself, what's their real energy? Is this a mask that I'm seeing? Is this the armor that they put on? Like when I said that I went to play Linda Beach where it was nude. And I felt so light because I didn't have the uniform on. I didn't have, everybody stripped down. Who and what are you when you're stripped down? Like when that van driver had an attitude with me, probably because he knew I'm from America, whatever have you, drove me 15 miles down that dark road, man. You ought to see it. When the clouds are real heavy, it was last night, you can't see too far. Normally, I can look off my balcony and look over to the next mountain and see the houses and see the little cars going far away and whatever. When the clouds drop low, you can't see it. When they drop real low, I look off in the balcony and I'm looking off into nothing. And I got out. I had these 2 bags when he finally let other people off and I jumped off. I was angry. And I had to walk through the dark on that road. The moon wasn't shining up nothing. The clouds were heavy and thick. Dude walked toward me on this dark road, 2 lanes, 2 narrow lanes. And a car was going by, lit him up, and it spooked me. 15 miles? In the mountains where past this point, there's no houses or nothing for a while. Legs cramping, late at night. 1 bar. I'm talking about the charge on the phone, but there was no signal. And I'm walking and just walking and just walking. The cars that went by me weren't many. It might have been 3 cars in the whole 15 miles at that time of night. Midnight, up in the mountains, there's no traffic up here. Anybody going to no parties, whatever? I mean, you might see a car or 2. Past a certain point, it's quiet. The locals who've always lived here, they'll walk up and down like it's all right. They're used to it. Animals and noises. That did something to me that night. That did something to me. And I'm not saying that I don't have any fear, but after that, It was a spiritual thing for me. Them trees looked like giants. It was foggy. You don't know what is that? What is that? But you felt the life off of them. You felt a presence in nature. I got home. I couldn't even walk up the steps to go into the bed. I just put my bags down and laid on the couch and fell asleep until the morning time. I couldn't even call Mr. Scurv and say, hey, this guy did this. He took me this far down. So that segues into some other stories, but I'm not going to drag it on like that. I'll talk about those things differently, but don't be surprised when you learn that there are things around you, energy-wise, that you didn't realize were there. We have our physical eyes, but there's so much going on in our worlds that we really have to be careful what we entertain. You know what I mean? So you're right. Was it JJ? Positive vibes. That's all that matters. There's so much negativity in the world. A positive vibration can make a big exactly. When you do, you become the automatic enemy of, those of us who try to be positive. We acknowledge the negative, but we want to keep on being positive and feed into that. And I don't want nothing to do with the negative. I mean, I can cuss bad words with the best of them, whatever. I have old skills that way, but I don't want to find myself, certain things you put down. Not that I ever was that kind of person. I had spicy language to help tell jokes or whatever, but I have a big enough vocabulary right now that I don't have to depend on that, But you average out in a day. Was it more positive or was it we be scurving them? Yes, we are. Yeah. On your scorecard, the balance of your day. Being pulled into something negative and you fell for it. Now you all messed up and you got the cooties on you. Did you steer clear of certain things? It doesn't make you a punk. It doesn't make you weak to steer clear, right? That's right, Chance. We be scurving them. No. It's like Pernell, Sweet Pea Whitaker, or Floyd Mayweather. When you avoid a punch, there's nothing noble in sitting there and getting punched in the face. And you retire, and you can't talk, got brain damage, whatever. Same thing on that spiritual level. You see somebody trying to provoke you and draw you in to take your peace of mind, right? And you fall for it. And we all break. We're human sometimes. We're like, oh, come near me today, you're going to get it. Calm down. Like, no. Today it ain't going to happen. I'm not going for it today. Come on. Get over here and you find out what's going to happen. Yep. I've had times like that. I'll tell you one more little Lance story. When we were in the second apartment that we were in before we moved here, I had my table and my computers and stuff, and it was on the second story. There's a third story, and there was only 4 units in that apartment building. And the people had to walk past that window to walk around to the one that was across from me, or to walk around to go to the steps to go to the 2 that were up. There was all kind of people there because there was construction going on, because we actually were the first people to move in the building. So the construction guys that were there, I had a curtain up. I didn't have any hard blinds. Though, like if because they would chill out and sit out there or up or down, they would see like, this guy's got all these computers and all this stuff and gadgetry and lights. This looks like the bridge of the Starship Enterprise. And so somebody got it in their head, because we had, some bars on the window, and the sliding window, and sometimes I'd leave it cracked. But it was too far to touch anything where the table was. So you couldn't really touch anything, but you didn't know that. So this is one of the times I snapped. I snapped, but I lost my mind for a second. I'm in the back sleeping. Something said, get him to go to the bathroom. I did. Answer the call to nature. Something said, go to the kitchen. which was next to, and this is an apartment, the room, that living room area where I had all my stuff, because we just laid our head there as we built this house. So I'm walking toward the kitchen and I forgot the kitchen light was on. I look toward that window that had the curtain and the slider. There was a hand reaching. But it didn't hit me until I walked past it. And I said, wait a second. I looked and the person didn't see me, but they were trying their best to grab something. I guess they said, whatever's on this table, it's got to be expensive. I got a big mouth. If the guys weren't up there sleeping, I would yell and make you hear how loud I can be. I can be real loud, to the point where I won't be able to talk for the next week. Scrape up my vocal cords. I was like, hey. He pulled his hand out and went to the door. Mind you, it was just like I was at Playa Linda Beach. I didn't have a stitch of clothes on. It was hot. There was no AC in the apartment yet. You just had this little fan. The fan wasn't doing nothing. The fan just looking at you. Sorry. Imagine it's cool. I pulled that door open. I ran around the bend. I ran down the steps. Ran out the gate. He was gone. I'm looking. It was almost like Scarface at the end of Scarface when he was high on coke and he had the phone. And, he was going. I ran out. I didn't realize I was naked. And then I ran down and saw the dark block. I said, I'm going there because I don't see him way down here. And I'm running. And I'm screaming, you come in my house, I'm going to kill you. And I went off. I said, any one of y'all, because I knew there were guys up there sleeping that were doing work. Any one of y'all, you want to try something, whatever. And I lost it. Like Teddy Pendergrass, and what's the song there? The whole town's laughing at me. And he says, I lost it, and I lost it. Well, I was out there. The whole neighborhood, you saw like, oh my God, crazy American Bruni, he is out there screaming and he's naked. He thinks he's at Playa Linda Beach. They don't know nothing about that. Yeah. I'm very territorial like that. Don't violate. Don't violate. You're cool. You're my friend. Whatever. We're cool. Fine. Come on. I don't mean don't break in, try to break in and take my stuff. But what I'm saying is that you think you'll be slick and get me that way? No, it ain't gonna happen. Anyway, I've been yapping for 2 hours and 8 minutes, and I was gonna do a double header, but I'll make it good tomorrow. I'll make it real good. But living real in a fake world, try to see the energy behind the mask. It's very important. You see the energy behind the mask and it's something good, rejoice. Nobody's perfect. You might catch them on a bad day. But take time and discern the spirit and see what's around you, because if something negative is around you and you don't realize that it is negative, even if it has a smiling face, it can still be pulling you down, pulling you down, pulling you down. And you don't know, like, why do I feel so hopeless? Why do I feel so low? Why do I feel so non-motivated? I was so motivated 2 days ago. Why? Leave no stone unturned. Figure it out. Self-diagnose. Right? Go back. Hit that back button. At what point did you realize that you felt this way? It's like the computer when it says, oh, you get that black screen, you can hit the one prompt and it says, go back to when it was working properly. And that's not what they say exactly. And you hit that and it goes right on back, right? Go back to the time when everything was okay before you started feeling this way, and go back a little further. You know, even in your thoughts, if you feel like you're unhappy at this present time and you don't know why, go back to a time, play some music from a time when you were joyous, when you were happy. Revel in that, bathe in that, saute and simmer in that. That'll make a big difference. Big time. and slowly bring it up and realize I started feeling kind of funny when, when I got that new girlfriend, she was cool and everything, but there's something about her. Maybe you didn't realize that. Or it could be somebody on the job. What are your neighbors? You don't know they're hating on you. They're in the window. Who do you think he is? Supposed to conquer that. Self-generate your positivity. And you're not sick, but what's around you may be sick, and you have to remove yourself from that. Look, I don't care how much you love your family, your loved one, your committed relationship person, or whoever. If they have the flu, you love them, but it would be real dumb to go hug them and kiss them and snuggle up because you love them. No, stay away. I love you, but we have to do this right now because I can't get sick. I'm the breadwinner. Whatever. You got to preserve yourself and do it with a sharp blade of perception. So you can get to a certain chronological age without being worn down. We can live a lot longer and a lot more joyous if we pump those brakes, realize what's around us, and stay away from the things that are going to average us out. Like I always say, the number 100 got horny and went to bed with the number 50, and they laid up and had a good old time. When number 100 woke up, he woke up at 75 because he averaged out with number 50. You don't need to sleep with number 50. Hey, 50, you're a cool person, and I love you from a distance, but stay over there. Meaning that it's not about just sex, but your endeavors, where you place your mind, that last thought before you go to bed to say, this is what my goals are for tomorrow. And it sinks in your head. And when you wake up, you're like, okay, I know what I have to do. But if you're endlessly scrolling on foolishness, you're going to wake up and grab for the phone and waste more time. You got a day off. Why are you in the bed for extra 3 hours? It's not because you're tired. You're scrolling. That thing got your brain. You ain't getting mine. If I could turn this camera around and it's dark over there, I got it lit. Under the carport is lit. But you'll see my drawing stuff and the sketching and stuff. I'm going to squeeze time every day for that. That's what I do. That brings me joy. Hey, man, you need to come on, slip on out the house, man. Come on to the club, man. You getting older, whatnot, man. You need a little fun. This is fun for me. Being right here. As I have for many, 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 many years, no matter how much you try to erase your past and your content, I'm still here. They kick me off YouTube, I'll be somewhere with a bullhorn talking. Listen, y'all, it's been great. I know the way I feel. I'll be on this thing for like 4 hours talking, right? I didn't even drink my almond milk. I'm going to finish the rest of that, nibble on a few things, and because really and truly, in about 5 hours, it's 6 o'clock, 6 a.m., it's 1:13 now. Those brothers are going to be up, making some noise, and I'm going to be, I don't want to be that way, but I've committed to this, and this is what I do. So anyway, just want to say much love. Thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure. LanceScurv out. Hit the comment section. I want to start playing around. Leave some comments on every show we do, whatever have you, and whatever, like after a day, whatever, I'll speak on that comment on the next show and have fun with it, or break it down a little better. You know what I mean? So we're going to sign off right now. I'm going to get that almond milk, eat a couple little things, and I'm out. Thank you for being here with me. It's always a pleasure that you spend your precious time here with me. I know you can't do it all the time, but we want to get the human vibration going on, So that's the main important thing. I'm a real person, I'm not AI. I never will be. Like I said, if you see AI copy of me and that pinky's not bent right there, that last one, that last finger, it's fake. It's AI. Cut it off. Anyway, much love to you all. Mwah. Salute. Take care. LanceScurv out. It's that crazy song again.
Hello, this is Martha. Actually, today I got to meet my friend Lance. Yes, I got to meet my friend Lance. This is my first time meeting him in person, and he's a very kind man, seriously. I do talk with him on phone, on WhatsApp, but I've never got to meet him. But today, it's just extraordinary. He's very, anything you want to know about life, anything you want to know about just human, anything you want to know about life, please. YouTube, Telegram, Instagram, Twitter, all the social media channels, you got to find him there. He's very inspiring. He's very positive. If you want anything positive about life, please subscribe to LanceScurv. And then every day you got to see different videos, different talks, different topics about life. See you.